Out in the real world, women who lose weight from dieting will regain their lost weight 96% of the time. This can be a pretty depressing statistic, and it might feel demotivating to think about it, but you don't have to be in that 96%. Today, we're going to talk about what could be going wrong that might cause you to regain the weight you lost, and 5 ways to not go there, to not regain it. Hello, my friend. You're listening to Weight Loss Made Real, and this is episode 294. I'm your host, Master Weight Loss Coach and author, Cookie Rosenblum. Right here in this podcast, I will be your coach and your guide to help you end your emotional eating and lose that extra weight. If you just found me, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. This is where we talk about your habit of emotional eating or habitual overeating, which is the main focus of all the work I do. If you want to lose weight, the first thing that must happen is for you to stop overeating. And that is what we do right here. This is where coaching meets psychology and psychology meets brain science. This is where your problem ends and freedom begins. Before we get into our coaching session, remember that I have a special training for you, 3 steps to stop overeating, and you can get it at weightlossmadereal.com. On that page, you'll also have a choice of other free gifts that I created just for you. All right, are you ready to dive into our session today? Let's start with this. What are the facts that we know about weight loss, right? We know that 4% of people who try to lose weight are successful, versus 96% who are not. We know that diets are the most common fix used to lose weight, but it's a fix from the outside in. And usually, most of you who are listening who try to lose weight don't spend a lot of time understanding your urges to eat more than your body needs. And most likely, you're fighting those urges instead of understanding them and allowing them to be without acting on them. You probably want results so much that you just don't care in the moment if it's a temporary fix, because you may be telling yourself quietly that you'll be different. This will be different for you. You're not going to regain that weight. You might even be using restriction, and I mean extreme restriction. Not talking about saying no to something when you're not hungry. The bottom line is, to lose weight, you do need to eat less than you ate when you gained that extra weight. So we have all these facts about weight loss, and they might sound kind of negative. How do they affect you? When you think about them, it's likely that they create fear that this is just going to be an impossible feat. So why bother? You're going to feel defeated before you even begin. And you might think, well, if the odds are so low for me to get rid of this problem and get rid of the extra weight, why bother? Why bother putting all that work in? Now, here's the truth about all those fears that come from those facts about weight loss. Your fears are real. Now, some of you never reach the point of losing weight to even think about keeping it off. And the odds of even losing that weight are so low. But those of you who are lucky enough to have done some things right and lost that weight, most of you still lose it and then regain it. So if you've lost the weight and regained it, you're in the majority of what happens to people who lose weight from the outside in. And this brings us to some strong general beliefs that you may share with a lot of other women. a strong belief that this is just a losing battle. And not only is the battle hard, but you don't have a belief that you can do this. You don't believe that you can be in that low 4%. But if you take the time, which is what we're going to do today, to understand what makes the regaining percentage so high, you can avoid being in that 96% majority. In my way of thinking about weight loss and maintenance, there are 5 things that you can do when you lose weight to not gain it back. You want that weight to be gone out of your life and off your body, and this is possible. You can learn to be the exception. And as we go through these 5 things that you can do to prevent regaining any lost weight, I know you might be thinking that you can't lose it, let alone maintain it. And maybe maintenance is not your worry at this moment. Okay, I understand. For some of us, we can't seem to get to first base with weight loss. So your focus is going to be on losing instead of maintaining. And that's where my gift, that training, 3 Steps to Stop Overeating, is going to give you a kickstart for your weight loss. Then you can come back and listen to this about not regaining that weight that you worked so hard to lose. So today, right now, 5 ways to not regain the weight you've lost. All right, number 1, the first way to not regain any weight that you've lost is to be sure to understand what you've accomplished. You've lost the weight. Let's be specific. I want you to think about what patterns you changed, what habits you used to do, why you used to do them, and why you don't do them now. I want you to know what kinds of eating plans and foods are realistic for you. And that means realistic for losing the weight and realistic for continuing to eat that way so that the extra weight can stay gone. I want you to see how you used to talk to yourself when nobody was listening and how different it might be now. So be ultra clear on what now works versus what didn't used to work. In other words, do not just be so excited about that new lower number on the scale that you stop thinking about it. You need to understand and know in detail, what are you doing differently now than you used to do when either the weight wouldn't come off or it would come right back on, so that you have a clear path of what to do going forward. You want to keep repeating what's worked. You don't want to stop doing it. All right, number 2, the second way to be in that 4% minority of excellent weight loss maintainers is to stop just focusing on your body. The scale is not the main measure of you, and neither is the size of your pants. I understand that from habit and things that you may have learned previously, you think the main focus should be on your body. But you need to focus on your mind, and your body will follow. It really pays to spend some time understanding yourself. This is really the essence of all personal development. When you start with mind and mood management, your body will follow. Many Freedom Group members come in, and of course they know that just focusing on the numbers and what they eat doesn't work in the big picture. But it's hard for them to get out of the habit of brushing aside the think and love part of the program. Remember, it's eat, think, love. And they just want to think about what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat. You need to acknowledge that true permanent weight loss is both a mind and body package. Your mind and body influence each other. So make peace with connecting with your mind and your body. So step number 2, second way to not regain whatever you've lost, is to just catch yourself if you find yourself primarily focusing on your body. Number 3, the third way to excel at weight maintenance is to understand what willpower is and to know that you cannot count on it to reach and stay at your goal weight range. Willpower in the beginning of doing something new is what you use to get yourself to take the first steps. It requires strength. It requires doing something different, and it's uncomfortable in the beginning. It requires holding on tight, never letting that guard down and being relaxed. It requires you to be stronger than your habit. So it's used in the very beginning of getting yourself to do something new and not do the old familiar thing, but it's not sustainable. We get a certain amount of willpower available to us, and then it runs out. And that's when you usually crash. When you're relying on willpower, not only to lose weight, but then to maintain that weight loss, what happens is that you might worry about and try to control every single situation in your life that you could think of where you might encounter food. And you plan and you plan and you pray to be stronger than your urges. But willpower is only meant to get you to take those first new steps. It is not meant to be used for the long haul. Understand what really drives you to do something, which usually is why you want to do it, why you want to accomplish it, why it's so important to you. And that drives you toward what you want versus walking through your life living in fear and panic and wondering how long your success might last. When you stop relying on willpower, you feel a certain freedom. You're not waking up hoping and praying every day that what you've done will continue. Number 4, the fourth change that you want to make to become one of those weight loss maintainers is to approach solving the whole overeating problem from an attitude of peaceful confidence instead of fear and desperation. Whatever your feelings are, as you move through learning to be a natural eater, those feelings will always lead to what you do, how you eat, how you move through the world, how you show up every day, how you care for yourself. The feelings, the emotions that you experience come from what you're thinking. So fear and frustration don't lead to successful, peaceful eating habits. Peaceful confidence does. Understanding your mind and your body and how they work together leads you to have that quiet confidence, and it attracts a kind way to caring for yourself, and that includes how you eat. You accept where you are, and you peacefully learn to become someone who eats from body signals instead of from habit or mood. And there's no desperation needed in this process. It's just a skill that you learn. So we're down to number 5, the fifth way for you to not regain the weight that you've lost. And this requires something you've heard me talk about probably several times before, and that is having belief in yourself. Belief that if you learn to eat peacefully and naturally, and you lose weight as a result, and if that is possible for anyone, then of course you can do it too. But I know that belief right now, after years of struggling, may not be there for you. You may not be able to access it. You probably believe that you're the exception, you can't do this, and you have years of proof that you can't do it. So we've already said that you're not going to approach this with fear and desperation. But if that's all you know, if that's all you've got based on your past efforts, then you're going to have to try something different. And that is creating a pre-belief. You're going to decide what you need to believe to keep that weight off for good, and then act as if you believed it now. Eventually, you will believe it. But in the beginning, you'll have to pretend that you're an actor in a role. The role of someone who successfully conquered their overeating habits, lost the extra weight, and now lives like a natural eater. Regaining that weight, not possible for you. You feel confident. You feel determined and relaxed. You're not holding on tight or fighting that internal battle every day. Just the quiet, peaceful confidence of someone who did the work and is cultivating the firm belief that this is it. So you want evidence for this new belief that you're working on? It will come from you practicing believing, because that practice will help you feel confident and make good decisions, and your eating will be where it should. Regaining the weight you lost? Nope, not for you, because you will be in that 4%. We talked about 5 strategies today, 5 ways of restructuring how you think about weight loss and how you think about maintenance, so you do not regain any weight that you lose. I want you to take one of these strategies to become one of the minority weight loss success stories, and take a few minutes to write down how are you going to practice it. Your first step could easily be to see which one of these mistakes you most frequently make. Do you focus on weight loss from the outside in, that food list of do's and don'ts? Do you put all the emphasis on your body to the exclusion of your mind? Maybe you've been thinking that extreme willpower is the answer. Be honest here. Or maybe you've been approaching weight loss through desperation and self-hatred because you're afraid if you're nice to yourself, you won't be able to get yourself to do what you need to do. And finally, if you've been telling yourself that you really want to achieve a true change of identity, not just the weight, but your whole identity into that of a natural eater, but secretly you think that you're the exception, then your beliefs would be a really good starting point for you. All right, you now know what you're going to think about and do this week. Remember, before you go, if you haven't yet done it, be sure to download your most important starting point to stopping overeating once and for all. My free mini course on how to stop overeating in 3 steps at weightlossmadereal.com. It's going to lead you through my proven Eat, Think, Love method that has helped thousands of women end overeating by using the power of your brain and your psychology. It has exercises that you can start using right away and see results today. For now, this is your Coach Cookie reminding you that as you search for answers, keep it real, just like you, and I will see you back here soon.